Hello, ladies. This is Marcia here with the Coffee with MP show. I'm sitting here with these beautiful ladies, and today we are going to have a Q&A.
We're Midwest Performance. We're on a mission to empower women around the world to take action and work hard to make a physical impact in their lives. In this very saturated fitness industry, there's tons of competition, but the opportunities are incredible. We'll cover the most common challenges in the fitness world and invite guests to the show that have learned to overcome them and share their strategies with you. This is the Coffee with MP show.
Hey guys, again, it's Marcia here at Midwest Performance, and I'm sitting here with these beautiful ladies. We're going to go ahead and start with our Q&A. Before we start, we're going to go ahead and introduce these lovely ladies who are sitting in front of me. I want you ladies to go ahead and proceed to tell the audience who you are, how long you've been with NP, and why did you decide to come. So we'll start with...
My name is Angela. I've been with MP for a year. I decided to come to MP for a change to get a workout that I feel that would benefit me a little bit more than what I previously have had.
Oh, okay. My name is Jill. I've been with MP for just under a year. I joined for a couple of reasons, actually. One, because I really wasn't feeling fit and I wanted to get fit. And also, I joined to meet people too. I like that.
My name is Maureen, but everyone pretty much calls me Mo here. Been here a little over a year. I joined to lose weight, and I've successfully done that, and I have keep going.
How much weight have you lost now?
A little over between 80 and 90 pounds, but my inches are much better, about 58 inches overall.
That is insane.
Wow.
Insane numbers.
That's
That is
amazing.
All right, with that being said, now that we know who everyone is, who has the first question for me? Anyone?
What keeps you motivated every day?
Ooh, that's a good question. So I have to be perfectly honest with you. Before even asking yourself what keeps you motivated, you have to find your purpose, your why. Like, what is your why? Why do you do the things that you do? And I always say this, and excuse my language, when shit gets hard, you have to remember why you started to begin with. Because I think we get so caught up in the mundane daily routine and task, and we almost forget why we begin in the first place. And for me, I have several reasons. I personally want to leave a legacy. And I get a little emotional when I talk about this because I've been working, it's been a 10-year goal of mine to be able to essentially be where I'm at today. And when I'm long gone from this earth, I want my name to be remembered and people can look back on some of the accomplishments that I've done. And by doing that, it's the legacy that I'm leaving, not only for myself, but for my future family. So that's a very good question.
Amazing.
So for the audience that's tuning in, and even for you ladies, is why do you do what you do? You know, is it for your family? You know, is it for yourself? I mean, what it's essentially, and I believe today when I taught class, I said, what is your intention? What is your purpose? And I think we need to remind ourselves that because we have a tendency to forget at times. So, good question.
Awesome.
Thanks. I have a question.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So you did a great workout in class today. It was thorough, to say the least.
Thank you.
When you get to the part where your body and your brain have separated because the body is shaking, the brain is saying go, but the muscles are shaking.
Yeah.
How do you push past at that point?
Good. Man, you guys are bringing it. Okay, so again, you guys probably heard me say today, it doesn't really count until the fatigue starts to set in. And it's a true statement because people have a tendency, they start out, they have a great momentum, but as they progress and they fatigue, they have a tendency to slow down. And I always say quality before quantity. You have to maintain the same momentum that you began with. Because if you do haul ass, once you get to that halfway point, then you're going to start to fatigue. And then you start to give up. And like you said, the mind and the body starts to separate. If you can keep those two together throughout the entire duration, and sometimes that may not happen, right? So if that does happen, that's why, in all honesty, that's why we're here. That's why we have the coach as a certified instructor to be able to push you outside your comfort zone. And the same with me. There's times where I have a coach, and when I'm tired, he's right on my ass telling me to keep going, and I need that. Everybody needs that. We're not perfect. We're all human. And, you know, I might turn my eye on corner and somebody's stopping, but as soon as I catch it, I'm right on them right away. So it's not even yourself. You have to have some sort of an accountability. People think that you have to check your ego at the door, because people have a tendency to think they could do everything on their own, and that's not true at all. Even the best coaches in the world, or the best athletes in the world, Michael Jordan, for instance, he has a coach and he has accountability. We all need to be accountable. If it's not me, it's the person next to you. Whatever the case may be, you maybe say, come on girl, keep going, and she's like, okay, you're right. And then afterwards she tells you, oh my God, I'm so glad that you did that. I needed that extra push. So if for some reason, if you have a tendency to slow down, I see that and I'm going to be on you. So it's not just you. You need to have accountability, and think about it. And I'm going to give you a metaphor. If you're at a global gym, for instance, and not to discredit any of those because they all have great services, but if you're working out on the treadmill or you're working out on your own, who's going to tell you to keep going? There's nobody there, right? There's nobody. And that's why I think we have this tight-knit community, that we're all there essentially to help one another along the way.
It's really good.
Yeah. Mo?
So, as we know, you are a MMA fighter.
Yep.
Of anyone living or has passed, who would be your first choice to fight in the ring with?
Oh.
And why?
Well, how did this end about me?
This is always about you.
I hope not. This is about us. I'm going to start asking you guys questions. I've never been asked this question before. And in all honesty, for those of you that may not be fully aware of the sport, MMA stands for mixed martial arts. It's cage fighting, and you're in an octagon, you're locked in, it's only you and your opponent, that's it, and there's no running. If I had to choose, I have to be perfectly honest with you. Right now, the pound for pound female champion in the world that's been undefeated for the last 10 years has been Cris Cyborg. She's in the featherweight division, which is the 145-pound weight class, and everybody sees her as being invincible. And to be perfectly honest with you, everybody is beatable. If you guys ever heard of Ronda Rousey, right? She was on a winning streak, but did she not get beat? She got beat. So I see this person being no different. And to be perfectly honest with you, I don't think she has been tested to her fullest potential, meaning she's never really taken a hit. She's always hit the other person. So I think if I were to choose anybody, it would be her. Because not only would it be good for her, but I also think it'd be more so good for me. For the simple fact, I'd really test my skill. So Cris Cyborg. Sorry.
Call her out, girl. Call her out.
All right. Anybody else?
One question on diet. How do you feel that you can get your planning maybe a little bit more tight? Like, what would you give advice to somebody like myself to be able to maybe plan ahead? Like, is there a good recipe thing that you could use, or what do you think is the best way?
Good question. So there's a lot of different means or ways of going about handling your nutrition, and what may work for me may not work for somebody else. So I can't necessarily advise one particular thing, but I could speak for myself based on the types of experiments that I've done. I love meal prepping. I either purchase meal prepping, and I'm not here to sell by any means. It's just that when you're on the go, we all have, time is kind of like, that's one of the things that it's like, oh, we don't have time. I don't have time to do this. Well, if that's you, if you're that person out there that doesn't have the time to cook or doesn't have the time to go to the grocery store, you'd be the perfect candidate to be able to go to some sort of prep service provider like we have here, Origin Meals, that does all that for you. So it's essentially you pop it in the microwave and you eat it. So if you don't like doing it that way, the other alternative would be able to prep yourself. And again, find a day, maybe it's a Sunday, that you'll prep all the meals for the week. And I'm sure these are things that we've all heard before, but a lot of people have a hard time with execution. So it's being able to find the time. We all have time, and to be perfectly honest with you, after living in the house for 6 weeks with no internet, no phone, I've realized you have a lot of time. So I don't want to hear the excuse that there's no time. There's always time. We find time. We'll make time when we want it. And it's, how bad do you want it, right?
It's so true.
Yeah. So if it's not that, do you love to cook?
I do. I just don't have the time. That's the bottom line. I do love to cook, but it's just the time thing.
So have you tried prep meals before?
I have. But I tried a Sunday, and then I get really good for a few weeks.
Well, Origin Meals, like having someone prep it for you,
and
like
that
Origin.
might be that's probably going to be the way I.
And I would say it's like try it before you buy it. We do offer a free prep meal. Correct me if I'm wrong over there, Brittany, but that's something that if you I know some people are finicky eaters. I would just eat just about anything. For me, I really don't care, but again, to each his own. So.
Yep.
Cool. Anybody else?
I can keep going. Great.
All right.
Okay, so my next question. So I don't think it's a secret to anybody that you are formidable.
Okay.
Okay. So you are tough, you are feminine, you are a force to be reckoned with. You're somebody a lot of people look up to.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh, please.
I do.
You know when you walk in here, I'm like, hey girl. Is that a lot of pressure on you to know that, like, when you walk in, everybody is like, oh, Marcia's here.
Sure.
Now you have to. Not to say you have to perform.
Yeah.
But
No, I understand. I have to be perfectly honest with you. I don't foresee myself in that way at all. I see myself just like you ladies. I really do. I consider myself very down to earth. I keep it real. I tell it like it is. I have fun just like I'm no different than you ladies. I'm really not. It's just we have our ways of living is different. You know, you have maybe some of you guys have like 8 to 5. Well, my 8 to 5 is training all day. You know, so it's just a different lifestyle. But I'm the same person. I'm no different than any of you. So I don't think there's no pressure at all. I hear all the time, well, she's so humble. Well, I thank you. I appreciate that. So, but no, not at all. Again, I consider myself like Mo and like Angela. I'm no different. I'm really not. So, but I appreciate the compliment. Thank you. On the flip side, I have some questions. I really do. I'm going to challenge you ladies. I'm going to go around the room. Mo, what clicked for you? Like, all of a sudden, you're like, hey, I've lost 80, 90 pounds. What was it what clicked? What made it so it's like, okay, enough is enough. I need to do something.
Well, I think I just got to that point where I was so overweight. I was like, I just had that aha moment, like, I better do something or I'm going to literally die because I was so overweight.
Yeah.
And I gave it a week free here and I was hooked.
So I know some people, they've tried other things before. Why here, though? Like, what was it like, man, this is awesome? Because I'm sure you probably tried things before, right? Correct me if I'm
Everything
wrong.
under the sun. Literally everything under the sun. I think it's the community. I think it's the support system. I've done it in the past by myself. I mean, I'll have my family supporting me, but this is a huge community. And, you know, I can text somebody, I can go on Facebook, I can, you know, message somebody and someone's like always going to be there. Or I've gotten to the point where I'm like, hey, who's coming to class? And they're all like, since you put that, you know, I'm like, well, people used to do that for me, so I'm going to do that for you. And they're like, we see you coming to class, we're going to come to class. And I'm like, well, you know what, someone did that before for me, I'm going to just pay it forward. So
That's awesome.
yeah, it's the community.
That's awesome. I like that. All right, I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
You're not getting off the hook. So I know when you first started, you actually had a friend that you started with, and both of you guys were holding each other accountable. And I know some people can't necessarily do it without the other person, but I've noticed since you've progressed, you're now like, I got this. I can do it on my own now. What was it for you? How did you stay accountable to yourself?
To be completely honest, I feel I've always been a gymnast, so for me, working out has always been a part of my life, having kids and all that, so you kind of lose that. So once I started, I can't stop. Like, I even had a time where I went on vacation and I knew that I had to get back here because this is the person I've always been, deep within inside me. So this is the only place where it actually really works because it reminds me of when I was a gymnast where it was, they will push you really, really hard.
Yeah.
When I go to I've been to other those, you know, places where you kind of just go on the treadmill. Nothing works. It doesn't work for me. I even tried their circuit training. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
You need to have this interval training that pushes you so outside your comfort zone that you cannot stop.
I like that.
And even with the loss of my friend not coming here anymore, I can't stop.
That's awesome.
It's just, I can't.
That's awesome. I like that. So I have to say something. You guys are probably wondering, what is that background noise? We actually have class going on, so I do apologize in advance. So we're putting in the work. Now, Jill, my question for you is, and this may pertain to some people that are watching, is that when you started, you didn't have an accountability like Angela did. So what was it for you? Because I know some people are afraid to take that first step and come through the door. So what was it for you? How did you, and maybe you didn't have a fear, but if you did have a fear, how did you overcome that fear? And what was it for you that was like, I could do this, I got this? Like, because I'm sure there's people that are afraid to take that first step. So what would be your advice?
That's a good one because I am actually a very shy person, and when I saw the ad on Facebook, and I thought, okay, it looked different. Just the ad looked different. And I was like, well, I'm just going to go see, because actually I go to the salon right here. And I had heard all kinds of things and seen all the women coming out. And I was like, okay, maybe. So I came in I still remember my first day. I came in as very not expecting much. I really wasn't. I wasn't.
You're kind of skeptical.
Yeah, I was skeptical. I thought this was going to be like one of those highfalutin places for bougie people, and I wasn't going to fit.
She just called us bougie.
She did.
She just called us bougie.
Like, oh, here we go. But I came in, and that initial workout honestly shocked me to the core. It woke up parts of my body that I did not know.
That's awesome.
I had
existed, yeah.
Right. But it mentally pushed me, and that was what was different for me.
That's awesome.
I'm very used to, okay, go lift some weights or go get on the bike or whatever, but I'd never really been pushed the way that I'm pushed here. You know, I'm and mind you, I'm notorious for my resting, we don't call it resting gym face. All the trainers here know about me and my resting gym face.
RGF, I like that. RGF.
And it's not that I don't love the workout, but I'm really mentally taxed. Like I'm mentally working to push my body, and that's completely different for me.
So what would you tell people that are watching, like, who are afraid to take that first step? What would you say?
I would say if you are looking for a complete workout. If you are looking for a mental, physical workout where you're also going to meet some awesome people that are not bougie, go figure, that are really down to earth and nice, you should come to Midwest Performance.
This is the place, I guess, huh?
Yes, this is the place to be.
I feel like you're trying to sell the product right now.
I'm saying, I am the biggest skeptic on the planet. I'm cheap. I'm frugal. I'm difficult to work with. I got an attitude problem. But I come here and I feel like I'm part of a family, a team. And I get worked out, and I walk out happier than when I started. And when I started, I thought I was in a good place. Yeah. But at the end of the workout, I am like, all right, go Jill.
That's awesome. You know what's funny is that since joining, Jill has also referred a friend, Donna, who almost, I believe, felt the same way as you did when she first started, and now she's just as addicted, if not more addicted than you. So it's kind of cool to see the transitions that you ladies starting, and now you're completely addicted. So
Donna did a coffee with him. Everybody look that up.
Yes. So shout out to Donna if you're watching. One last thing before we continue here, or discontinue, I should say, is we always finish with if you had to give any advice to anybody who's tuning in or watching, what would that advice be? We'll go ahead and start with Andrew.
My advice would be to come and check us out, because you will not be disappointed at all. Check us out. You'll be as addicted as all of us are here.
That's awesome. I like that.
You want to give some advice?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. My advice would be take a deep breath and take the first step. Take the first step in a new direction, and you will not regret it. Whatever your goal is, if the goal is weight loss, if the goal is strength, if the goal is just overall health, take the first step, come in for that initial class. You will not regret it.
I like that.
And we're here for you.
That's awesome.
My advice is take it day by day. Come in. You can find me here pretty much 6 days a week. We all have a journey, and we don't mind sharing it at all. We pretty much are all in the same boat here. It works. We're all proof. You put in the hard work, you're going to get the results, and this is pretty much the only place I've ever gotten results at. So I think there's a 10-day free trial right now.
Yeah.
come check it out.
That's awesome. I greatly appreciate that, ladies. And I have to say that I did not convince these ladies or persuade by any means to say what they said. This is completely authentic. It's very genuine. It's from the heart. And I have to be honest, I'm extremely grateful and blessed to have each and every one of you in my lives. I truly mean that. I really do. This is something that's much different even for myself, because I've been to a lot of gyms as well. And I have to say, this isn't a community. This is family. This is like my second home. So, ladies, don't be afraid to take advantage of the offers that we do have. Take that first step, like Jill was saying. I promise you won't be disappointed. Again, this was intended for a Q&A. I hope you're able to answer some of the questions that you may have. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and sign out. So, again, have a blessed day, guys, and we'll see you in the studio soon. Bye.
Thanks for joining us today. If you like this episode, subscribe to our YouTube channel or find our podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, or wherever your favorite places to listen to podcasts might be. And if you really liked this episode, please leave a review for us on iTunes. Thanks, and we'll see you next week.